Well, this is now the second year in a row in which we know who's going to win the finals before it even ends. Because in this situation, history has told us plenty of times before that the Boston Celtics will be winning the NBA championship and the Dallas Mavericks will be sent home. Or they'll maybe already be home, considering this could be a sweep. But don't get me wrong, this game wasn't just a simple Celtics win. There was a lot more to this game and a lot more problems and issues that we're going to get to here in a bit. Like the first half alone, which was just confusing because it was the opposite of everything we've already seen in the finals so far. Like Tatum being the one to hit all of the shots for the Boston Celtics, considering he wasn't really the offensive guy in the first two games of this series. It was crazy to see him actually be the one in this game, and he was still making the same moves that he has been doing when it comes to the defensive end and also passing and rebounding, everything, but he was able to maintain all of that while also making shots, whether that was inside of the paint or also on the outside. But that also brings up my biggest problem with Jayson Tatum, something that was going to make me literally scratch my eyeballs out of my head. But that's something that I need to go a little bit more in depth for, so I'm just going to send you guys over to the film room. Okay, I'll be honest, I lied. I know I made it sound like I have some sort of film room in my house, but we're just gonna have to do this in my dining room with my dog blanket behind me. Anyways, I'm gonna go on my laptop here and live react to every single missed three that Jayson Tatum put up in this game. And in case you don't know, he put up 13 damn attempts. He made 4 of them, so we're gonna be going over 9, but 13 attempts? And I know in this video, I say that Jayson Tatum was shooting well from 3, and that's because it seriously did feel like he was making the ones that he was supposed to be making. It was these shots that we're gonna go over and just look at how bad they were as attempts and why he shouldn't have even taken them in the first place. Anyways, let's just start this right up and go ahead with the first one, which appears to be Jayson Tatum matched up against Derek Lively. I'm pretty sure this is the step back, where he's just contested. There's no point in doing that. You are not Luka Doncic, you are Jayson Tatum. Pretty sure this one, him up against Luka. Once again, just a little bit too contested. It's not too bad. It's not the worst ones that we see. Like this one, I'm pretty sure is god awful, where Kyrie is just kind of up against him. And yes, he does manage to get his room, but it looks like he's spending too much time thinking about it. Should he take the shot? And maybe that's because he was struggling throughout a majority of this, playoff series, the NBA Finals, whatever. And maybe he's just doubting himself a little bit more than he should have, because honestly, if he pulled that as soon as he hit that step back, he would have been fine, but he thought too much about it, and that led him to be a little bit, probably more contested and also a little bit, more overthinking on the shot than he would have been had he just thrown it up. As the next one, we have, I actually haven't seen this one yet. Oh yeah, the just clearly contested corner 3. What the fuck? Why are you shooting that shot? You're within 3 points. That one, the clock was just going down, and he appears to be a little bit contested, but he does have some space there, so I'm not really gonna blame him too much for that one. So that's halftime. We're going into the third quarter now. This one looks to be open. I'm okay with that shot, just an unlucky miss. I'm fine with that. Good contest there by Derek Lively as well. This one, once again, who do you think you are? Luka Doncic is on your ass. I know that he's bad when you're attacking him in the paint, but he is on your ass out there in the perimeter. It's a terrible shot. You have no room. You can't really get your feet set, especially in that. Makes no sense. Let's move forward here. Jayson Tatum, kick it out again. Another open one. I'm obviously okay with that shot. Sucks that he didn't make it. And just like that, those were all of the threes that he missed in this game. Obviously, some of them are okay. They're open, they're whatever. But a majority of these, it felt like he was being closed in on, or he just didn't have enough time, or was overthinking the shot. And like I said, I know that some of those were open shots, and it's all right. He could take those, whatever. He had some room. But you can't tell me that there weren't some of those shots that just piss you off. I mean, seriously, every single time I saw him put up one of those contested ass threes, I just knew it was gonna brick. Anyways, I think we're done in here, so I'll just send you guys back into the main room. All right, now that I have all that off my chest, I do want to say it is funny that everything in this game has just been swapped from what we saw in the first one. Like in the first 2 games for the Boston Celtics, it was Jaylen Brown that was able to get everything done, but in this one, he was struggling pretty bad. He wasn't really able to find his spots. He just wasn't really knocking down the shots that he was putting up. And granted, you didn't really need him that much when you did have Jayson Tatum doing his thing, but watching the first half, it had me sitting here just thinking to myself, are we really just gonna switch who's having the better night? Like, are we not just gonna have a game where 2 players are good? Because it was the same exact thing over for the Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie Irving, for some reason, was the one to get things going in this game, and historically, he has been very good and very dominant in game 3s of the NBA Finals. But the difference in this game compared to the first 2 was that he was actually able to hit his threes, and it wasn't like they were just wide open threes. I mean, some of these were actually very hard to knock down, and he still managed to get them easily. It also helps a ton when Porzingis is sitting on the bench in this game. We don't know if Porzingis will actually end up returning in the NBA Finals overall, whether or not that even matters matters in the first place. But with there being no real paint presence for the Boston Celtics, it was pretty easy, I mean, as easy as it can be, for Kyrie Irving to get in there and get some floaters, whether that was a crazy looking floater with like his left hand they just launched up into the air, or he actually got to go in and get an easy layup. And another one of those things that show that it was just a complete opposite from the first two games is that Luka Doncic wasn't playing good. What do you know? In the first half, Luka Doncic really struggled from three. I'm pretty sure he went 1 for 6. He was still able to attack and do the mid-range thing, especially because, like what I said before, Porzingis was out of this game. But from three, where Luka is the most crucial and where the Mavericks need him most, considering no one else on their team was really able to hit threes for some reason in this series, and Luka just wasn't getting it done. And he was actually shooting so bad from three that he only shot one more attempt in the second half. That's how bad he knew he was doing, right? Which I feel like a lot of Mavericks fans might be upset about. They might think that he should have just kept on launching that ball. To me, I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see that he acknowledged he wasn't able to get those shots down and he was able to score when attacking into the paint or attacking the mid-range, and that was always going to work for him, and it did. He ended this game with a solid, I'm pretty sure, 30-something points, and throughout a majority of this first half, the game was close, and that was right up until the second half started. Because in the third quarter alone, the Boston Celtics went on a 35-19 run, giving them the biggest lead of the game and basically having everyone online, in person, whatever, count out the Dallas Mavericks. Nobody thought they had a chance anymore. They thought this game was over. And I was one of those people, and I don't blame myself or anyone else for thinking that, because Jaylen Brown locked in. I said that in the first half he was struggling. In this half he was on fire, and that's right alongside Jayson Tatum, who was also still playing good basketball, and that's when I knew things were going to be scary. You also had the Boston Celtics team overall, who was starting to really hit threes. In the first half they were not able to knock shit down, but in the second half they were getting it done. Shit, you even had Xavier Tillman hitting a three, his first three-point attempt in the entire postseason, and he gets it down. And I mean, if you just look at the bench's reaction to it, you knew that they were hyped. Even they thought this game was over. But I want to make it very clear when I say that everybody thought that this game was over in this moment. I'm sure if you're watching this video and if you were watching that game live, you thought the same thing. Even though it's only like a 20-point lead and those leads vanish all the time in the NBA, let alone it was just in the third quarter, it wasn't even like in the fourth with minutes to go or anything like that. You can't tell me, unless you're a Mavericks or Boston Celtics fan, that you didn't think this game was over at least a little bit. But then the modern NBA struck, and like I said before, 20-point leads vanish all the time. Well, that's exactly what we saw in the fourth quarter, because not only was Jayson Tatum shooting 1 for 5 from the field, but the Dallas Mavericks just got their shit figured out. PJ Washington, I'm pretty sure, got 2 threes down. Eric Lively was also dominating in the paint. I mean, things were picking up for the Dallas Mavericks, and the game got close. But there was one small moment where I feel like the Dallas Mavericks lost all momentum, and nobody seems to be talking about this, but it was right after the Boston Celtics had a pretty awful possession. It ended in Drew Holiday taking a contested three with like 12 seconds left in the shot clock. I mean, there was no need for him to take that shot. He ends up missing it. Luka gets the rebound, and for some fucking reason, Jason Kidd calls a timeout. You can even see Luka Doncic is upset at Jason Kidd, because why would you call a timeout? I mean, everything is on their side. All the momentum. They just had to huck up some terrible shot that they missed. This is your moment to strike, and Jason Kidd kills it all. But maybe that wouldn't have mattered, right? Maybe the Dallas Mavericks just would have picked right back up where they were off the timeout. But instead, Luka Doncic gets hit with his 5th foul. And you know, usually that doesn't matter, right? There's only a couple minutes left in the fourth at this moment, and it's not like Luka Doncic is playing extreme fucking defense. He is okay to play like even more of a cone on the defensive end with 5 fouls than he was with 4.
Brown runs into Doncic, blocking foul, and that's it. He's fouled out.
Like, no, we need to seriously have a conversation, Luka Doncic. You need to call my phone right now. I'll text you my number, because why are you even going for this in the first place? I know that all the Dallas Mavericks fans are going to be talking about how this shouldn't have been a foul. They shouldn't have called it, whatever. Are you really calling this stuff in the playoffs, in the NBA finals, whatever? It doesn't matter. Why would you be fucking going for that in any situation? You have 5 fouls. Let him blow by you, or let him just hit you straight on. And even though the Dallas Mavericks tried to challenge it, it just wasn't going to work. It was a fucking foul. There's no doubt about that. And as soon as Luka Doncic went out, I'm not gonna lie, I thought the Dallas Mavericks had an even better chance at winning this game. And hear me out, the only reason why I say that is because the way that Luka Doncic was playing on defense, it was terrible. They attacked him every single time. I guarantee if Luka was out there playing with 5 fouls, the Celtics would have attacked him more than they have already been attacking him all game. And like I just said before, he could have played like even more of a cone on the defensive end, which means it would have been the easiest baskets for the Boston Celtics. So by having Luka on the bench, maybe it was good for them. And I know what you're thinking. Well, the offensive defensive end, you're taking a huge hit by not having Luka out there. Well, to be honest, in my mind, while watching this game and not using hindsight now that the game is over, the way I thought of it was, well, now Kyrie Irving has the green light. And Kyrie is one of the most clutch players in the game. Not to mention, he's already having himself an amazing game. These are his moments, right? And I know he put up this 1-3 that actually could have been huge had it gone down, but that's just the way I saw it in that situation. Unfortunately, it didn't go that way for the Dallas Mavericks. And instead, you have Luka Doncic complaining in his post-game interview about how he fouled out in this game. And it's not like he's saying that it was his fault. He's saying that it was the official's fault, because who fouls someone out in a finals game, if that makes any fucking sense whatsoever? So with that being said, comment down below your opinions. Do you somehow think that this Dallas Mavericks team will be the one team out of NBA history to break this curse of losing while being down 3-0? Or do you think the Celtics will just completely dominate and get themselves an easy little championship? But anyways, be sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below. I read and respond to everyone's comment. I love going down there and just having pure basketball conversations with you guys. And I'll see you guys all in the next one, whether we're reacting to the Boston Celtics winning a championship or talking about the Mavericks maybe coming back. I don't know. Later.